Yeah, the bounty hunters thought they had their murder suspect here in Richardson, but it turns out they had the wrong guy.
3 bounty hunters are facing felony charges accused of kidnapping a man they thought was a capital murder suspect.
Fox 4's David Centenary live tonight spoke with a man who was pulled from his family's garage and then thrown in a U-Haul.
The real suspect is believed to be 7,000 miles away.
Oh my God, Venters, it is beautiful. Only 95 degrees right now, and there's a little bit of a breeze. Absolutely gorgeous. But I noticed that it's starting to get darker a couple minutes sooner each night, which tells me that before you know it, the weather is going to start dropping. So I'm really excited about that. Bruh, check this out. This is 22-year-old Hussein Alsaadi. He and his family emigrated here legally, mind you, in 2012 from Iraq. He's an aspiring barber. He's been cutting hair out of his garage, hopefully legally, but they didn't mention that in the story. But check this out. He's halfway through cutting one of his friend's hair. God, that just sounds weird. He's cutting his friend's hair. Anyway, his brother is there with him. All of a sudden, a U-Haul comes from around the corner. 3 black guys jump out. They ask him if he's Hussein Alsaadi. They throw not 1, but 2 stun grenades.
They threw 2 stun grenades, and they just started aiming AR-15s on my head and to my brother's head.
Home surveillance video motioning on only as the U-Haul drives away with Alsaadi inside.
And proceed to drive him to the Richardson PD. Guys, these were 3 bounty hunters. Now talk about scary. 3 black guys jump out of a U-Haul, ask you what your name is, throw stun grenades at your brother and your friend, who, by the way, only has half of his hair cut, and then they yank your punk butt into a U-Haul. They drive down to the Richardson PD, where Hussein Alsaadi tells them fervently, look, this is not me. And you might be a little confused here. They were looking for Hussein Alsaadi. Hussein Alsaadi was actually out on bond, a $500,000 bond, forget this, capital murder using terrorism.
Home surveillance video motioning on only as the U-Haul drives away with Alsaadi inside.
They said you're wanted for capital murder by terrorism. I actually started laughing because I was like, oh my God, yeah, I have the wrong person.
And check this out, like any smart criminal, he actually broke through his ankle monitor, and now he is actually 7,000 miles away in Iraq. So check this out, a $500,000 bond. You have to pay 10%. So apparently this guy paid 10% to a company called the Clandestine Group. The Clandestine Group is a third party, right? They end up contracting with this bounty hunter company in Texas called Bringing Them Home 24/7 Bail Bonds. Their owner is a guy named Alan Hinton. Alan Hinton's 3 bounty hunters are in a lot of trouble, and so is he. His story is, hey, this was a tragic mistake and it was an accident, but it's not like they took the guy's life, and he's seeking immunity. He believes as a bounty hunter with no prior background that he should get immunity.
You know, I do a hard job, and without qualified immunity, it makes things a lot harder for us.
However, Hussein Alsaadi's lawyer feels totally different.
So when did they ultimately realize that they had the wrong person?
After the fingerprint.
Richardson police detained Alsaadi until a detective on the FBI's task force arrived with a mobile fingerprinting device. The results showed Hussein Alsaadi was who he said he was and was not the subject of the warrant.
Everybody surrounded me in a circle, just waiting for the results.
Yeah.
And obviously after the results, the officer told them, yeah, this is not him. And that's when you just see them get back in the U-Haul truck and then just drive off.
Alan Hinton told the Richardson PD that they had actually been doing intel on this guy for a number of months, and that they had multiple witnesses that had led them to this guy who was, running his barbershop out of his garage. When they got there, apparently they used AI, facial recognition, and AI came back with a 79% likely match, which is really, really weird, because you figure with artificial intelligence that you would want that thing to say 98% or higher before you would actually send your henchman in to go ahead and abduct somebody. So you literally got a realistic case here of kidnapping, and they have nothing that they can argue because technically they did it. So I don't know how they're going to get out of this. There was a lot of people in the comments that were saying, hey, this guy's going to get rich. He's going to get 10 or 20 million bucks. But the problem is, he's not suing the city or the state. He's going to have to sue this, this little three-man team. He's going to have to sue these bail bonds people, the Bring 'em Home 24/7 crew. What a name of a company, huh? Hey, who are you gonna trust to bring in your capital murderers from around the country? You're gonna go with Bringing 'em Home 24/7 bail bonds out of Richardson, Texas. That is crazy. What a crazy fun story. Here's the scary thing. In the future, some of us, not you and me, but us Americans, are gonna get arrested erroneously by AI software and facial recognition. I heard somewhere that you might be one of the very few people on the planet whose fingerprints match somebody else on the planet. You know how we all grew up hearing that there's no two snowflakes alike and no two fingerprints alike? Well, apparently there are 1 in a couple billion circumstances where that's just not true. At least that's what I've heard. Where'd you hear that, Jesse? YouTube. Yeah, everybody else does too. All right, so I've been talking about this the last week. This guy does deserve to get paid. You can't pay him 20 million because there's no way this little company that's not the most professional. Think about this. They didn't go and pick him up in, a nice dark truck or a car. They picked him up in a U-Haul. For all I know, they were out there getting the U-Haul that cost 20 or 25 bucks a day, and they were literally using that to run their business. And in a weird way, it makes sense. It comes with an area in the back where you could actually detain your subject. In this case, Hussein Alsaadi. Here's their two pictures again. I think they look a little bit alike in the eyes and the nose, but they don't really look that much alike. Do you think you would have been fooled? I think I would have called the boss and said, hey, I know we got an 80% match, and I know we got some eyewitness testimony that this is the guy. And it is the guy's name, but I don't think this is the guy. I think that would have been a smarter route to take. But you want to know something? When you have that much money on the line, for all I know, they figured better safe than sorry. We're not letting this guy out of our sights, Okay, so how much do you give them? Well, once again, I think this is one where you could easily see a judge and a jury awarding this guy millions of dollars because of trauma, right? I mean, when you see 3 guys jump out of a U-Haul, use flash grenades to blind everybody, and then they throw you in the back of a U-Haul, that is traumatic. You're thinking that you're going to lose your life. But again, I don't think this is a 10 or 20 or $100 million lawsuit, especially now that we know it's against this company that's probably just going to shut its doors and file bankruptcy, right? But I'm thinking, I don't know, what would be fair? I'm thinking 500,000 again. You got these magical numbers. If that happened to me, I would be really disappointed. I would want my lawyer to try to get 100 million. But damn it, the only way I could live with myself is if you at least gave me 400,000 or 500,000. So that's what Jesse's court is going to give him. Let me know down in the comments if you think Jesse's court is a little too cheap, or if you think Jesse's court is right on. So again, is this guy's life worth more than 500,000? Yes, it's worth millions. but he didn't lose it. He still got it. Imagine how nice that would be for him to have a $400,000 or $500,000 nugget in his bank account. I mean, for Pete's sake, he might have been running an illegal barber shop for all I know. This sounds like a really good little lottery ticket for him. They actually said that if this bail bonds company would have actually reached out, they would have told them that this guy cut his monitor and he was already 7,000 miles away in Iraq. In other words, this really didn't have to happen. I don't know exactly how bail bondsmanship works. Yes, just like you, I used to watch Dog Chapman the Bounty Hunter, but Dog Chapman the Bounty Hunter always had his contracts together, right? They always knew they were going for the right guy. This is just one of those where they weren't quite as professional as they needed to be. 2 jobs that I don't think I could ever do in my life, no matter how hungry and desolate I was, would be bail bondsman and repo man. The whole idea of people pulling guns on me because I'm trying to take your vehicle or even take you into custody, I just don't think I could handle that much excitement. If you think you could have handled it back in the day, maybe let us know down below. And I'd like to know what your thoughts are. You know what's interesting? We all have doppelgangers. Some people look identical to us. Some people resemble us. While I don't think these two look identical, they definitely look like they could be relatives, right? Like cousins of one another. And I often thought, what if they could create a website for people that have broken hearts? What do you mean, Jesse? Well, Bob, think about this. Lucy breaks your heart in your early 20s. And the reason you had such a crush on Lucy or on Tom or Bob is because they had this special, unique look that you were just gaga about. Well, imagine if you could go to a website and find 10 people that look just like Lucy, or 10 people that look just like Bob. Jesse, this sounds demented as hell. It is, and I apologize, but I just can't believe that nobody has come up with this idea. Make a doppelganger website. What better way to get over your ex than to date somebody that looks just like them, but without all the mental baggage? Isn't that amazing? That sounds like a great idea. Destined for failure, of course, but still sounds like a great idea that should be out there. Nighthawk 241 says, I can't believe someone gave this guy a $500,000 bond for capital murder charges, and he's an illegal immigrant. And now he's facing a capital murder charge. Then what makes the bondsman think he's gonna stick around to spend life in prison? Yeah, so imagine some guy goes to you and he says, hey, here's $50,000. I want you to go ahead and be my bondsman, right? Again, I don't know exactly how it works, but here's this guy that knows he's gonna go to prison forever. So his game plan makes sense. Let's cut off this ankle monitor, let's escape to Canada, and let's ultimately go back to Iraq. And I'm guessing that's probably what he did. He either escaped to Mexico and flew out, or he escaped to Canada and flew out. And so once again, you've got this court system. Hey, congratulations. You managed to get together some bond money from this guy, but ultimately, you let a unaliver get away once again. I think that if you unalive somebody, right, capital murder, with a terroristic threat, that sounds to me like you killed one person, you might have killed multiple. I don't know exactly what that entails, but it sounds to me like it's serious enough where maybe there shouldn't be a bond or bail available. Maybe you should have to stay in prison until your court date. Again, it just seems like we let bad people out, and it's like not one time did we get to hear the judge's name. And I'm not that mad at the judge. You got to figure 500,000, you know, somebody, it's not easy to come up with 50 grand. At least it's not a $5,000 bond like we've heard before. Our arrest mirror DGT says, so PD and FBI just let the bounty hunter drive away after all that. Okay, that was the funniest part. After they realized that they had the wrong guy, the 3 black guys got right back into the U-Haul and just drove away. That was the hilarious, most fun part of the video. Because that's how life is, right? Oh, Did we mess up? My bad. They get in their vehicle and they take off. Oh my God, that is funny. That's what makes these stories so fun for me. Yes, they're tragic. Yes, you don't want bad people to get out there and do bad things, but this wasn't really that situation. These three guys actually had jobs. They thought they were doing something good, and they thought they were going to make some good money, so they wanted to count their chickens before it hatched. I don't consider these three guys the equivalent of actual kidnappers. Tell me you agree with me down below. Ron Warren says that guy will never have to work again. He just won the $20 million bail bond lottery. No, who really won is the guy that's in Iraq. Because now he gets to go back to Iraq. If he could afford $50,000 in bond, right, because you have to pay 10%, then he's probably rich. He's going to go back to Iraq and live like a prince and never have to face punishment for his crimes. That's absolutely awful. And then you know as well as I do, this guy and his little crew of bounty hunters, they're not going to be able to pay $20 million to this guy. This guy's going to be lucky if he gets anything, I think. Jeremy Butler says the real suspect is currently in Baghdad. What the WTF? I know, Jeremy, what it boils down to is our country is really disappointing. In our country, one of the things that we aspire for, besides the white picket fence, is you want to know that your country is going to be the type that'll dole out some justice to criminals. And in our country, it looks like criminals always find a way to just get away. And yet none of us know any of these judges' names. And the judges we do hear about are really crooked. Do you guys remember that policeman that went into the judge's office and he actually shot the judge? And you remember it was because he found out that his daughter's phone number was on the judge's cell phone or something like that? Well, come to find out, that judge was running like a brothel out of his court office. It just goes to show you these judges, they're not necessarily the best of people. Augie East says if AI thinks there's a 79% chance that these two guys look the same, it ain't ready yet. Horrible performance when it matters. I could imagine the court system there in Richardson, Texas. I could imagine them giving a ticket to this guy like, hey, sorry about all this trouble. You're free to go home, but here's a ticket for running that illegal barber shop out of your garage. It's funny how victims always end up getting shitted on in this modern world that we have. But again, he'll probably win some money, hopefully. Anyway, here's the real fun part about our walk. It's already damn near over. If you're willing to invest 15 or 20 minutes each day to watch your YouTube videos, do it while you're taking a walk. Every 20 or 30 minute walk you take is going to burn 100 to 150 calories. And if you're stressed out during your day, it's a great way to unwind. A real good way, and it's fun. I've been doing it every day for a long, long time. So make today that first day that you grab your shoes and take a walk. And right now, this is the best time of year to do it, because as you're getting into your walking routine, the weather's going to really start cooling down and being really nice. Speaking of really nice, be really nice and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. Come back again tomorrow. We'll find another story to talk about. Have a good night.